Hello everyone. So here I have the ThinkPad L14 from Lenovo, the Gen 3 with AMD. And this laptop, if you're not aware of AMD, the performance on the processor, just like some of the previous versions, is just straight up off the charts. Now, it is important this is Gen 3 because AMD kind of came back. It came back with one hell of a bang. The numbers on its processors and performance were just incredible, but we just needed a couple of years to kind of just make sure, no one wants to buy a first gen product, and this is a third gen product. It has clearly proven itself. And for those of you that are not really aware of specs or Intel AMD, let's just say that this tiny little laptop that can go from as little as $599 on eBay with same specs as here to maybe $2,000 fully spec'd up. This laptop, the CPU, not the gaming, but the processor goes head to head with essentially every best computer. So any of your $3,500 gaming laptops, the processor in this will be straight up head to head. Like there'll be almost no difference. And that's just, it's honestly hard to believe because this is a tiny little ultra portable laptop. And yes, it won't play games because there is no graphics card except for the one built into the chip. But even on that front, this is actually where it shines even more. Because when you're pairing the AMD with a GPU versus an Intel with a graphics card GPU, you're coming out more even because the chips are both fairly close together. And at this point, the graphics card is taking over for any gaming. So that's really what's going to make a difference. But in a computer like this that doesn't have a graphics card, you're stuck with AMD or Intel. And the AMD graphics are blazing fast. So they're not really good enough for gaming, new games. You'll be able to play pretty much all older games. But in terms of just computer performance, graphics, having 50 tabs open, it will never slow down. And this is why I rate a computer like this just incredibly highly. It's almost hard to believe the sheer amount of power that goes into this little thing that you can bring anywhere. And just, really, you can get it at such a cheap price. It's just unreal. Just a few years ago, these smaller laptops, they were significantly less powerful. They focused on battery life, and that was all you got. And now you literally have a top-of-the-line gaming laptop, almost CPU power, inside of this tiny little Ultrabook with better graphics than Intel. And pretty much, is there anything you can say about this that's not good? Because the laptop has really been streamlined, has good ports. You have USB, Kensington lock, micro SD card reader. It would be nice to have the full size, but at least we have something. Over here we have another USB, HDMI, and 2 Thunderbolt and Ethernet. Very important, especially on a more budget laptop like this, in the express card slot and combo jack. The computer itself looks and feels very utilitarian. It just looks and feels nice. There's nothing kind of annoying to the eyes. It has better sound. It has a better sound grill than the previous iterations. The touchpad also, it's not kind of ridiculously big. It has a very small press. I like that. I'm not a big fan of click pads, but having it be firm is at least good. I don't want this kind of like that old Lenovo wobbly touchpad. Same, we still got the track point, which is also good. I don't use it too much anymore, but we definitely don't want to be removing features for no reason. This is a 1080p model. I find that perfectly fine for screen resolution in a computer this small. I also like that on the bottom, we have pretty good cooling vents. So we're not going with the whole new style of having a computer that basically has no fans and gets extremely hot. I think that's very important. And you're gonna get decent battery out of this. Probably about, maybe a little lower than decent, maybe 4 to 6 hours, probably like 5 to 6 hours. But you are getting, the speed of this computer is definitely good enough to make up for it. And I don't particularly think this is an issue. I just had some little random video here. Show some sound. See if it works. What do we got? I don't know, this is just some random video I found. And as you can see, of course, there's essentially no bass, but the sound is much clearer, and I feel like it's nicer than the previous iterations. It's not a huge difference, but it is nicer. Now, keyboard-wise and flex-wise, this computer is definitely a little flexy, but I don't know. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. The keyboard also, I think it's a tad shallower than the previous generation, but it's still good. It's the Lenovo keyboard. I don't really have any complaints. All the keys are in their standard positions. And I just, overall, as I said, it's kind of a quick overview of this laptop. But it just has a really pleasant, simple kind of, I'm not trying to be too thin. I'm not trying to look too fancy look. It feels durable. It feels, you can plop it down on the table easily. You're not kind of being, you don't have that feeling where this computer is incredibly expensive and you want to like be gentle with it. Nothing like that. And from this perspective, it really just comes down to how much you're willing to pay for this thing. And since you can upgrade the RAM and the storage, if I were to get this, I would totally go for something like an eBay option for $5.99 and then purchase warranty separately, because you're not going to get that much more for upgrading this. Maybe you'll get a 4K screen, but on a computer this size, I don't particularly see the point. And anything else, more RAM, you're just going to pay more for upgrades, more storage, and I don't necessarily think that's necessary. And plus, if you're spending that much more money on a computer in this class, the L class, I think it'd be better to go, I don't know, with something more fancy. I'm not sure what at the moment, but this is aimed kind of, it's the L. It's more for the budget consumer, and it definitely delivers. So yeah, if you essentially are doing office work, you're doing standard, I don't know, watching YouTube videos, doing a little bit of video editing, playing older games a couple of years old, especially games kind of before, I don't know, like 2018, 2017, those should run pretty well on this because the graphics that are built in are quite good. This is not for new games, but for older stuff, it's gonna be a total breeze. So from that perspective, this computer will literally do everything except kind of new end gaming. And I think because of that, I really highly recommend it. And until you truly use it and you realize how fast these chips are, it's difficult to understand the jump that this ultra portable computer has gone through just over the last 3 to 5 years, because it's, I'm saying, the performance on this is just mind-blowing. There's probably almost no limit of tabs you could have open. You could probably have like 3 Chrome windows and 2 Firefox windows with 50 tabs in each one, and this thing will run like butter. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how much horsepower this little thing has. So yeah, hope that helps. I know it's not a very technical review. I'm just kind of going over my general feeling of this product and just what I think and what direction it's headed. And what AMD is doing. I mean, clearly it's even reflected in their stock price, but they are just wiping the floor. I mean, it truly, without looking at the numbers, if someone straight up told me that's the performance this computer gets, I would not believe them. So yeah, hope that helps.